Simon Goodwin, he told us to be calm and to get urgent. Well, Goody, you were right. It would turn, and it has turned. Melbourne have won 5 of their past 6 games, and I owe Goody, the coaching staff, and probably some of the players a big apology because we look the business. And Benny Lee, are you going to offer your apology to the football club as well?
No, absolutely not. Why are we apologizing? Like we were clearly underperforming in the first part, the first 5 games. Like we're not apologizing for anything as fans. And it just goes to show that we had this in us
Mm.
all along. So yes, it was the first game with the Lever and May combination. Didn't we look good defensively? But in the last couple of weeks, we've beaten the two grand final sides.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Pretty,
I think the apology
pretty good.
pretty good. I think the apology is more just the fact that clearly we were implementing a new game plan. Clearly, it was going to take a bit of time. We just didn't necessarily, or myself, speaking for myself, I didn't have the patience just because of what transpired off the back of last year. After we went 6-2, we went 5-10 to end our season. And it just had this horrible feeling, Benny, in those first 5 rounds that the writing was on the wall for this group and particularly for our senior coach. But credit where it's due. He was bullish. There are a lot of detractors coming after Simon. We probably don't speak about Simon enough on this podcast. He's made some great tactical switches and changes that we've seen in the past 6 weeks, and now it's starting to bear some fruit. And I think yesterday was the best example of the new demons, Melbourne 2.0 under Simon Goodwin, that we've seen thus far. It was a complete performance from me, Benny. If not for the 6-11 that we kicked in the first half, that was as good as it gets. Melbourne had 42 shots to 18. We had 22 more shots at goal than the Sydney Swans. If I walked out of the MCG yesterday and Melbourne had won by 80 plus, 90, heaven forbid, 100 points yesterday, I do not think it would have flattered us in the slightest. We absolutely obliterated a team who, yes, they have personnel missing, a team who aren't in sync at the moment because they've had so much turnover in terms of players coming in and out of that side. But that was the best performance I've seen from the Melbourne Football Club in a couple of years. It was tremendous, and I was over the moon.
You can only beat what's on the park. So I don't buy into the injury stuff. And I think that even their own coach, injuries aren't to blame for this. There was a We broke their backs.
Yeah.
The amount of pressure we put on, just the intensity we played out, the amount of time it lived in our forward half, it was just pure just drive, grit, and determination to win that game. And eventually the scoreboard sort of got to where it should have been, at least as a minimum.
Yeah.
But for sure, it could have been a lot more than that easily. But I still think like from the like when you talk about apologies, right? I think when you ask something of someone that they're capable of and they're not delivering, I don't think when they deliver you need to apologize to them. It's more of a thank you for getting to the level you should be. It's not a sorry, it's a thank you. That's how I would phrase it. And I the other thing I think is that we don't have to be patient. We have a good list.
Mm.
So you can be frustrated, yes, and that can breed impatience. Or you can be impatient, be frustrated, whatever way you want to put it. But I think that's healthy for an organization that demands the best. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to be demand to be better. And it's okay to set high standards. And I think that's really what, when we come back to, we'll talk about Petrarca in a minute, but really, I think what he wanted all along was everyone to subscribe to the high standard piece of that. And I think we're starting to see that. I think people are starting to buy in. There may have been some disenfranchisement at the start of the year, and maybe it took 5 losses on the trot to shitty teams for them to realize that. But the message still stands. We have a good list. It is not a bottom eight list. I know I've said differently in the past about certain players, and I think to an extent, happily, I've been proven wrong. Some players have started to perform, and that's great. I'm happy with that. Um, but I will say that there are times where I still think about what could be if we had a gun key forward
Mm.
and some better ball use to the midfield.
Mhm.
And honestly, what held us back from that 100 points on the weekend was that there's still that little bit of finishing power that we don't have. And look, maybe we you know we might play finals. We may just getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but we might play finals. But I still think we lack that. You know, you would agree with me, I'm sure, that that game should have been over at halftime.
Is that
By and large, it should have been over.
is that finishing power, or is that finishing finesse and being more clinical in front of goal? Because we did straighten up, as you mentioned, and we kicked 13-6 in the second half.
Yeah.
I'm
So
just querying that. Is that finesse, or is that actual power itself? Because to put 130 points on a decent outfit yesterday was no mean feat, Benny.
yeah, but if you give our stat sheet to Collingwood,
Yeah,
that's 100 points,
probably close
right?
to it.
So when I say finishing power, finishing finesse, that's semantics. It's the same thing to me,
Mm.
right? I'm just using a different word. So I think that there's still a little bit of a way to go, but there are some great signs. And I think as much as Toff hates to admit it, we have to give some credit to Goody
Oh yeah.
because we weren't playing like, and I want to be very, very clear, we were not playing like this anywhere near it in those first 5 games of the season. This is a definite shift in intent from a game plan perspective and execution. It's a two-part thing. So I think they've changed how they're playing in the season, or at least from my position, it looks like they have, and they're executing better. Even there were, and there's just a few little signs, and I think supporters will hang on to this as well, and I'm sure they agree with me. Is like Clary's not fumbling as much. He's back to the one-touch, quick handball player. He's using his feet a bit more. He's
Mm.
getting out in space. Like there are little signs that people are getting back to their best. Petrarca's breaking tackles,
He is.
right? It's the midfield looks dynamic. It looks like it's got different shape to it. We can throw 5 or 6 or 7 different players in there and show a different look each time. That's hard to defend. Gorn's got a lot of different options to hit to. He's just not the same one pace player. There's a lot of very good signs in that team right now.
You're spot on. And the other thing, you speak about the midfield and different players that can go in there. Christian Salem went in there. It was a curious one. He went in there 6 times, Benny. He got 6 center clearances from those 6 times he went in as well. So that was super impressive. And he was great yesterday. That was old vintage Salo. He had 31. He had 12 score involvements as well. The only player on the field that bettered him was Kozzy with 13 score involvements. But Salo was awesome through there. Trent Rivers did a really good job in there and I think, a really good job of curtailing Isaac Heaney. Yes, Isaac Heaney, an absolute superstar. He kicks the 3 goals, but he limited him to 22 disposals and he didn't have a massive say on proceedings. That was really impressive. And then you throw guys like Kozzy in there as well. And My God, it's a really,
Can
really
we can we park Kozzy just to the end because we need to go through that in
not, not,
detail.
not,
That's a
not
section.
talking. Yes, I'm not going to talk Cozzy yet, and it definitely deserves its own section and probably 10 minutes worth of Cos, or at least 15% of this podcast, 20% even, needs to be attributed to the great Cos Pickett. But the point I wanted to make as well, we talk about the different options that we've got in midfield. We've now got a settled half back line that is in sync. Jake Bowie, superb. Caleb Windsor yesterday, superb. I like the way that Langford and Lindsay support and get back and help out as well. Trent Rivers, when he rolls back there as well, we know he's a great player. And Judd McVee is starting to get back to his best form. He's a player that was always going to take a little bit of time. It was a lengthy layoff. And that was a really impressive, underrated component of yesterday's performance. It would be very easy to get hung up on the old guard, who were our best players. Gorm was brilliant. Petrarca was brilliant. Oliver was brilliant. Christian Salem was brilliant. All of these players that played a big role in our 2021 campaign and ensured that we tasted the ultimate success, they were awesome. But I also looked at the detail and the numbers, and just from what I saw yesterday, the way that we were able to control territory, a lot of that was to do with the ground ball game. When the ball hit the deck in those undisputed areas in the middle of the ground in our back half, it was those smaller half back liners that were mopping up beautifully, Benny. Disco Turner did a good job in that regard, but May and Lever didn't even have to play well. They were quite quiet by their own lofty standards yesterday because of all those players that I just mentioned. That part of our game was so impressive that it actually ended up seeing us kick a score of 82 on turnover. When was the last time we kicked 82 points on turnover or even close to that, Benny? And we generated 6 goals for from our defensive half, which was a huge problem in that first 5 rounds of the season. So that for me, again, very easy to get hung up on the stars of this team and the Kozzy Picketts, who we'll speak about at some point in the not so distant future. But really, it was those B plus players, those emerging players coming through that hopefully become A graders in the future that I was so impressed with. And the reason why I was is because once you get that growth from that middle band upwards, and we don't have to rely on May and Lever having massive days out. We don't have to rely on Jake Melksham to have a massive day out. He kicked a couple of junk times. He wasn't really in it. We didn't have to rely on a guy who I think's been really impressive this year in Cade Chandler. Again, he was super quiet. It was those players that are the future of this football club, the players that are in either their first, second, third, fourth, fifth year, that group of players, that core that is coming through that I thought outside of the old guard, who were clearly our best players on the field, the most influential players for us, that's where I think we're starting to see some genuine growth from this team, Benny. And fuck, it makes me excited.
For sure, but I still would say just on Jake Melksham, I think he blanketed Rampy pretty well.
You did well.
Yeah, so like they well, Rampy had 10 touches and Melksham kicked what, 3 goals?
Three, but as I say, two are junk time. He doesn't really assist or
Yeah,
get involved in that part of his game. But you're right. Like in
still
terms
counts.
of
Still
role,
counts. His
yeah,
role is just he plays this negating role,
sure.
does it very well, gets some goals, and look, percentage is going to be very important for us because our percentage is low. So to me, there's no junk time goals right now.
Okay, I like
Every
it.
goal every goal counts. Like our percentage is like 89.
No junk time and no apologies. I like it, Benny.
No,
I like how you.
no, there's every single point counts from here on because and every single like that's why it hurt. I was annoyed at the end when we let them kick a couple of goals because I was like, this actually matters. And it may matter come the end of the year, given our record, right? Like it may. And I still think this side, even if we don't go deep in finals,
Hmm.
they should still be shooting for finals for sure. But I agree with you. Like in general, like yeah, like the quote lesser lights. Although I think Disco's quickly becoming
Oh,
a shining light. Like
he's a player.
he's a player. He's an absolute player. Like he can kick goals. He defends like his life depends on it.
Yep.
And it must be great for Lever and May to have him tearing around, just trying to make a contest wherever he goes. They just swan around doing their thing as these very well paid, very good, but just it must make life a lot easier when you've got this young kid running around trying to earn his big contract. It's fantastic to watch.
They've just got the
And
sunnies
look,
on, don't they? Like May and Lever,
oh,
they just
they're
have
just on the
the on.
they're on the beach. They're on the beach in Canggu or where the fuck they are, go for their holiday and just sitting there sunning while he runs around, does all the hard work.
That's awesome.
But but I do think though that getting quality behind the ball
Mm.
and a lot of it has helped us, right? Like good ball use out of your defensive 50 can set you up because if you're getting your turnovers in that danger zone, which is between the 50, the opposition 50 and the center circle, if you're getting some turnovers there, good ball users in that part of the ground can really, really hurt the other team. And that's what we're starting to do. We're starting to get turnovers in the right spot. And even if it's a deeper turnover, we're starting to think our way through it a bit more. We're not just blazing away all the time. So the decision making has been better. We've got better execution from our young guys. Now, the one player you didn't mention who's been playing well, who I would put in the tenured camp, the older bloke camp, is Langdon.
Oh yeah,
And like I think I've been very clear on this. Like if he could kick, he'd be the best player in the competition.
best player.
He gets he could be if he could actually if he had Errol Goulden's boot,
Mm.
he would be the most damaging player in the competition because he.
How many?
Yeah,
Come on, how many have Errol Goulden's boot? Let's be honest.
no, no, but no, no, okay, fair. If he had, okay, let me. But who's another like just good kick? Give me a good kick at the
I think he's a
football.
good kick. The stats
No,
saying
no,
that
he's
he's a good kick. He is a good
no, no,
kick.
but he's an elite kick. I'd say he's an elite kick.
Jordan Dawson.
Okay, if he's got Jordan Dawson's boot,
Yeah,
he is a he is a genuine like top 20 player in the AFL. Like genuine top 20 player in the AFL. He finds the ball in space. He's got speed. He's got endurance. He's got all of that.
he tackles.
But just he tackles. Sometimes his kicking just lets him down.
Mm.
Right? Like, I think he even makes the right decision. He just can't execute sometimes. And if he could kick half as good as he thinks, he would be dead set a top 20 player in the AFL. I firmly believe that. But sometimes he played well, but he let us down a little bit with his kicking, and that's just what we've come to expect, and that's okay. But yeah, you said Gorn was fantastic. Salem was fantastic.
Awesome.
It's and Clary was a there was I think I said last time or last week that he may never get back to what he was.
Mm.
I think I said that. I questioned myself. I questioned myself.
An
There were
apology.
times.
An apology here potentially.
No, 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 no. I don't apologize. I questioned myself.
Okay.
'Cause I didn't make a statement. I just said he may. Well, I did, but he may never get back to where he was. He may not. It was just
And
a.
and what are you gonna?
And there were glimpses. There were times where he just ball off the bootlaces, extremely clean, fired a handball off to someone in space. There were handballs that were so good that players didn't even know they were meant to get them. There was a couple of times where he put handballs out in space where players you could even see them being like, "Oh shit, that's actually there."
Yeah.
Like there were times where you were like, "Oh, he might be back. He might be doing a John Wick."
I agree. He had 11 disposals in the first quarter alone, 7 tackles in the first quarter, and he set the tone for me. He absolutely set the tone. In that first quarter, was there with Rawlo, had a great day out, a great day. One of the best days at the footy I've had in a long, long time. It was brilliant. I haven't seen many wins, admittedly, live for 12 months, but it was such a good day. The weather was beautiful, Benny. The beers were flowing. Rollo and I had just celebrated our respective birthdays during the week because we're only 4 days apart. There were no
Oh,
kids.
happy birthday! Happy
That's
birthday!
that's okay. I don't do the hoo-ha of birthdays, but it's all good and appreciate it, Benny. But it was
Because you
just
mentioned it, so it must mean something
no,
to
no,
you.
no. I don't. Trust me. I don't.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. But okay.
But it was a beautiful day out the footy, and we said early on, we're on. You could just feel it. We were so on. We were so in sync. I want to keep using we're in sync because that's what we are right now. And Clayton Oliver was a great example of that yesterday. You could just tell Benny, like he had his touchback. You made a really good point before. Like he's not fumbling at the moment. He's got his touchback. He's got that classic Clayton Oliver spinning out of traffic, that classic Clayton Oliver in traffic and just finds a way to win a contest where he's not favoured to win it. And he somehow bullocks out of a pack and the handballs as well into space. I could not agree more with you. So he set the tone for me. And one point I just wanted to make because I think, again, you were correct with this. The forward half turnover game and scoring from that source, we kicked, what is it? It's 11-10, 76 points from that score origin. Goody's spoken about it at will, that's a part of our game that we needed to fix, especially when we were 0-5. And he said they're working on it constantly and we need to get it right. And we have gotten it right in recent weeks. It's been so pleasing to see. But Clayton Oliver, it was awesome. And I'm glad you brought that up. And I know it wasn't an apology. Maybe we'll get an apology from Benny Lee one day. But Clary kicking that goal and even just the unity piece when he kicks the goal and he comes off the ground, the standing ovation on the MCC members wing side, and of course the Melbourne Football Club members as well who sit next to the MCC. I haven't heard an ovation like that in God knows how long. I actually can't remember the last time. Maybe the last time, funnily enough, was when Clayton Oliver kicked a goal after the siren, the three-quarter time siren, against Richmond on Anzac Eve a couple of years ago. And everyone went bananas because Richmond were doing a good job. They're hanging in the game against us. And it was a bit of a turning point in the contest. And everyone was flipping their lids and, come on, Melbourne, let's run over the top of these bastards. Jacob Van Rooyen popped up in the last quarter, kicked a few goals, and we got the chockies. It was electric, Benny. It was just like the whole MCG came together and said, we love you, Clary. We've got your back. But not only that, it felt like the supporter base had rejuvenated itself as well. It feels like we've all got a spring in our steps. And I thought that that moment was as good a moment that I felt at the MCG as a Melbourne Football Club supporter in quite some time. And I just wanted to mention the vibes, Benny. Because you weren't there, I wanted to transmit the vibes to you.
Well, you know what? I watched it on TV over here because it did pop up on the old cable TV in the US. Didn't have to use the Watch AFL app, which was good. But yeah, mate, it was even hearing it through the TV, you could hear the fans. You could feel the energy when he kicked that goal and came off the ground. You could feel the energy.
It was
It
awesome.
was palpable. It was just powerful, powerful stuff. And it's almost symbolic of where he's come from to where he is now. And I really hope he continues the level that he was at in the game on the weekend for the rest of the year. Because if he does that, I think that's like if you had the opposition intel on Melbourne bingo card,
Mhm.
Clayton Oliver getting back to all Australian type areas was not on their bingo card. Like that is a scary proposition with the addition of Kozzy into the midfield and what he is doing. I think a lot of people have written Clayton Oliver off, and I would say that look, I don't ever think he'll get back to his peak, even though he's young. I think and if he does, I will apologize. If he goes bananas in the second half of the year, at season's end, I'll apologize. I will apologize.
An
You have
apology?
that on record. I'll give you, but like he's been it's very. Let's be honest though,
Mm.
from his first year
Yes.
up until probably 2023, or no, sorry, 2022.
No, 23 when he does the hammy in 23. So that's
Yeah, 23.
the
He
10
he is
that's when it all
yeah
stops
yeah,
and
but
suddenly he's got this
but
stuttering career.
but he is from day dot just had a completely upward trajectory.
Yes.
There have been no humps. There have been no downturns in that period. So for the bet, well, how old was he when he got recruited? 18?
18. Well, the easiest thing to say, Benny, is it's been 2 years of stuttering, faltering form because he did that hammy 2 years ago, pretty much to this day in around 10, around 11 against Port Adelaide. I was over there with Richie and Rollo. So it's been 2 years. It's been essentially 2 years,
Yeah, no, yeah. But before that, how long was he good for? Was it 7 years?
7, 8. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's very hard to keep that trajectory to where he got to in that period of time. Like, there are games that I've seen him play where I've said he could be the best player of all time.
Mm.
Like I've seen like there aren't many players that I can say that I've seen play games and say they could be the best player of all time. There's like Gary Ablett Jr. that I've seen with my own flesh and can remember. The Gary Ablett Jr. is one, Buddy Franklin's another, but beyond that, right? Like I don't think I've seen players that I could say legitimately say they could be the best player of all time. And Clary is one other one that I've seen him play games. There was a game again he played against Adelaide where he had like 35 touches and kicked 3 goals or something like that. Just I think we even lost the game,
Yep.
but he was bananas in the game, and I was just like, geez, he is just something special. Like like I still think he could be the best player Melbourne's ever had. Personally, I know there's probably Gorn being the greatest ruckman of all time, maybe yes, but in terms of like just pure footballer for how long he was that good for, Clary to me is just remarkable. Like I love him.
But
He is
Benny,
fantastic.
this is the question. It's two-part. Was yesterday's performance from Clayton Oliver all Australian like? So answer the first question. Was it an all Australian like performance? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So then the simplicity of what you're saying is this. If he can replicate that more times than not, say 2 out of every 4 performances are at that level, and he becomes consistent again, then we suddenly do have that player that you're talking about, and then you'll owe him an apology. But that's where we're at, right? That's where we're at with Clary. That's the
Yeah, yeah, but that's the thing is that he did that every week for 7 years,
yes.
right? Like that's that's not what's happening now. So let's be very realistic about that. So I uh, the more we get out of Clary, the better. I think he had the perfect balance of game. And the other thing I think that I just want to like circle with a deep, like black, hot, like hot, or whatever the color hardy you like, the 12 tackles.
Hmm.
He had 31 touches and 12 tackles
Yeah.
and 12 tackles. 31 touches and 12 tackles.
And who was our best pressure player on the field? Who was it? Who was
I don't
number
know.
one? Clayton
I
Oliver.
don't have the well, I don't have the stats. So
I've got the stats. He was the number one pressure player for Melbourne on the field. The second best pressure player on the field was Christian Petrarca, his sparring partner, and Trent Rivers was the third best player on the field in terms of pressure acts for Melbourne. So that was another big tick for Clayton Oliver. He applied the
he
most.
just he that was it was a extreme and he kicked a goal. Extremely well-rounded game. That's what we want out of Clary. That's what we want.
But let's talk about Keziah because he was a 10 out of 10 for me. He kicks five
See,
annoyingly, but far out Benny, he could have easily have kicked 7 or 8 goals in that game, had the 24 disposals, the 13 score involvements, and people would have gone, yeah, that's fair. Like the fact he had 11 shots, he missed a couple that didn't even register, Benny. He had 11 shots. He should have probably kicked 7 or 8 and had the the 24 touches to go with it. It was insane. He's a cheat code. Watching him live is one of the great joys in life. Melbourne Football Club. I'm going to say this every single week for the next however many weeks we've got left in the season. We've got a big chunk of it left. Do whatever you fucking can. Sign him up for as long as you can. Extend him. Buy him land. Do a Geelong. I don't care what you do. Make sure it's above board and legal, but just do whatever you can. Please. I beg you. I'm going to say that every single week, Benny. We have
It's
a generational player on our hands.
if honestly, I I don't know if I'm happy about this or sad about it, but if the Bont kicked 5 goals for and had 24 touches, that's all anyone would be talking about.
Probably.
He had, as you said, 11 shots on goal, 24 touches,
Mm.
18 of them kicks. So 11 of his 18 kicks were shots on goal. That is fucking bonkers. And he had 6 clearances and 500 meters gained and 4 tackles. Are you fucking serious? Like, he is shit. Like, he is the best. Like, everyone talks about Isaac Rankin like he's like the fucking bee's knees.
Mm.
Kozzy, Kozzy has like top 3 player in the comp written all over him.
Yes.
Melbourne should be sitting him down, asking him what number and how many zeros. Like, what's your first number and how many zeros do you want after it?
Yeah.
Because that man, he is approaching single name status. Like, just like he's up there with like Gary, Buddy, Bont,
Kozzy.
Kozzy, Cyril, Kozzy, Cyril, Kozzy, Cyril, Kozzy.
Kozzy.
It's he is in that type of like Fremantle must be fucking kicking themselves that they are giving Shea Bolton this big contract because Kozzy makes him look like a fucking amateur. I'm sorry. That's just my 2 cents. Like, Kozzy is just incredible.
Yeah.
Like, he honestly, honest to God, there was probably what of those 4 he got registered behinds for. I reckon if you give him another chance in the same situation, he probably kicks 3 of them.
Yeah.
So he was he hit the post a couple of times as well, I think,
He
actually.
rushed one, and he rushed one. Like he didn't have to kick
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Like, he could have just gone back. It would have been a 25-meter shot straight in front.
Like 8 goals, 24 touches.
Mm.
Are you serious?
And he did something though that was huge and underrated and not really spoken about after the game. Sydney mounted this weird, strange little comeback. It was odd. The scoreboard not reflecting the dominance. It was only 16 points at the time. Kozzy takes a mark out very wide on the boundary line, 55 out. The way he just took it upon himself to just wind out, open up the angle, and just cut across the ball, make the distance with ease, and put it through. It got us back out to this 22-point lead. It was like, it's all good. We're in control. I'm the main man. I'll just bin this one from 60 meters out on the boundary line. Fritter then gets another quick one, and it's like, okay, it's game over. It's Melbourne's day. That in itself, just the idea of Kozzy being able to take a game by the scruff of the neck, understand the moment, and own the moment, and bin that one. Out of all the brilliance that we see in traffic, the clearances, bursting out of packs, just how dynamic he is, how no one can tackle him, just the sheer fact that a set shot from downtown on that acute angle could be
It
executed
was bonkers. It was bonkers.
like that. That didn't get spoken about. Everyone was
No,
talking.
it was like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, we'll move
Everyone
on.
was
Like,
speaking about the razzle dazzle. I was like,
what?
that alone was fucking crazy. I'm just like, this guy is he's the main man. Like Gorn
But
has been the main man, but Kozzy is the main man, and Kozzy will continue to show why he is the main man. The only knock, there's only one really quick knock, Benny. I just think Kozzy's now got to start becoming that player where your down day is a 15 and 2, an 18 and 3. Like I honestly believe that. Like because he's gonna have a lot more 20 and 5s. He's already had a 20 and 5 earlier in the
yeah, but
season.
okay, look, I
That's
I,
only
ha
not.
like
I want the
this is the thing.
consistency level up just a tiny
Yeah,
bit.
I'd love it. I'd
That's
love
it.
the consistency level up. I would. Anyone would. No one's going to disagree with you on that. But I think his ceiling is considerably higher than most.
Mm,
Like there are some good players in the competition. They can't produce a 24 touch and 5 goal game
yeah.
that includes 11 shots on goal. That's like Glenn Jakovic, like, not out Glenn, Alan Jakovic type areas. Like that is bonkers number of shots on goal. And I agree with you. But just to give you, like, I noticed this when I looked at the AFL.com.au has a summary, right? And this is how nonchalant they are about this performance. Let me read this to you, and then
Oh.
you can see where the typo is. Kozzy Pickett was the start of the show. Pickett had 24 disposals, 6 clearances, 5 goals, and 13 score involvements. He was the start of the show, not the star, the start.
This, hang on, he wasn't the show.
No. They said he was the start. I didn't mean to say star, but start. Like it just even the league doesn't understand what they're saying. Like he has. It's just it's annoying to me because I don't like typos, but that's by the by. He put in like a 20 and 5 is worthy of like, as you said, it's three Brownlow votes, 10 coaches association votes. That's a that's a big performance. And they couldn't even get the fucking spelling right. They didn't even bother to check that.
They ruined it.
Like
They ruined
again, if Jamie Elliott did that, if Bont did that, if
it. Mhm.
I don't know, Noah Anderson did that, it's it'd be headlines.
I think Jamie Elliott did do that in the weekend. He kicked 5 goals.
No, he did. I know that. I'm just saying that they're not getting that wrong. Like
Benny?
the man deserves the spotlight, and he should be given the spotlight,
Hmm.
and they should be running a spell check on the updates for Kozzy. That's all I'm
No.
saying.
Melbourne, once more, sign him up again. Or just sign him for
Whatever he wants.
whatever he
Whatever he
wants.
wants.
Whatever he wants. Just do it, Melbourne. Just do it. Just get it done. Who else do we
Buy
speak
him,
about, Benny?
buy him a house in Perth. I don't care. Just sign him up. Uh,
Who
look,
else?
I'd like to talk about Jake Bowie. I think he got tagged probably for the first time in his career.
Yeah, that's true.
Played well through the tag.
Yeah, he did. He had
He
the
was good.
17. He had the 17, but he was still super clean and he was still damaging and he's a real weapon for this side. Can I just say on that, Benny? What a great compliment for the young man. He's had an awesome season to date. He's emerged as, I actually think, one of our most important players as well. I think he's critical to what we do and what we do well, particularly from an offensive point of view. Defensively, one on one, he's sound. Plays above his weight category, his height category. He's excellent. But the thing that we love about Jake Bowie is what he gives us with his penetrating kicking, becoming that little quarterback for this side. So,
Yeah, he's exactly that, a quarterback. He's a little very mini
yeah,
Ranger. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. Redhead Tom Brady.
he's a
He's a little
beauty.
Tom.
He's a beautiful little red-headed Tom Brady, and getting tagged yesterday. I'll say it again. That's a compliment, Penny. Huge.
Huge compliment. Now, don't know if their tag was well placed, I'll be honest,
No.
but it's a feather in his cap. Like he's getting noticed. He's damaging. He's hurting. He's hurting opposition and being very beneficial for us. So I think that's a huge testament to the guy who could be leading our best and fairest at this point in the season. It's very plausible.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Very, very plausible.
Go on
Um,
be leading it, just so you know. I think Max.
well,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess, but I don't know. I don't know how the coaches vote. Sometimes they vote differently to what you think. I mean, look, going off the Coaches Association votes, you'd say Max is probably up there, but I don't know. Bowser's been good. He's been very good. Who else other than them? I think. Look,
I've got some random ones for you.
there was a host of players I'd say who are just building. Like there's the Sparrows,
He was okay.
Langfords,
He was good.
Chandlers,
Yep.
Lindsay's, McVee's.
Yep.
Reeve Dog had another good game. Like they're just building incrementally, which is what you want. And I think, as
Hmm.
I said last week, balance is good. Balance is good. We have this very nice mix of polish, a little bit of speed in there. We're kicking well. Midfield looks dynamic. It's got different looks to it. We have different setups, not the same thing. And I think that our defense is looking incredibly solid. It's looking really, really solid. Like we absorbed. There are times where Sydney were moving the ball, and I'm like, this is a goal.
Hmm.
Like 5 weeks ago, this was a goal, dead set a goal, and we found a way to force it behind or a stoppage and stop the kicking a goal. And I think that's been a huge improvement from the first 5 weeks of the season.
Yes. And the one thing that we have to mention, because we have been lauding ourselves defensively and what we've seen in recent weeks, but there's a big old stat for me that probably deserves more credit, and it's efficiency inside 50. Melbourne's
Mm.
average for 2025 is 50.3%. Yesterday, we went at 65.6%. We were so in sync. I keep saying it. In terms of the way that we created scoring opportunities. And one of the things that Rollo mentioned, which was a great shout from him from the stands, is just how we looked inboard for the kick into the just at the top of the 50 or the 40 of the 50. We looked inboard, we stopped, we propped, we took our time. And there are other times where I thought we handed off the ball to a player in a better area, which opened up angles and opened up scoring opportunities. And there's a couple of players I'm going to speak about, and this is the random thing that I was alluding to before. Do not look at the stat sheet. Aiden Johnson played a role and played it really well. He had 2 goal assists and he was directly involved in 2 or 3 other goals that do not register on a stat sheet. A palm off, a hand in, a tackle, a spill out. He bashes, he crashes, he provides presence. And I don't think it's any coincidence that our efficiency inside forward 50 was better as a result of him being one of the tall pillars and Harrison Petty being one of the tall pillars as well. Who, if you look at the stat sheet, you go, fuck, he only had 1 mark. He kicks 1 goal, he sets one up. You're like, he didn't really do much. There were times where I thought he did a good job to quell Tom McCartan. Tom McCartan's a very good footballer, just by the way. I like the way he moves. I like the way he reads it. Yes, he beat Harrison on a number of different occasions, but there are other times where Petty competed. He did what he needed to do. He brought the ball to ground. He nullified the impact of a Tom McCartan who would come across and intercept. I thought he performed his role relatively well in that respect. But Benny, I think it's just the two of them as pillars from a structural perspective that gave us the ability to open up more scoring opportunities yesterday. I think there has to be something in that efficiency inside 50 because
I agree. I agree.
last week we saw it as well. If not for Melbourne kicking 4-8 in the final quarter, we could have been talking about another score akin to a 130 or a 120.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think that like for the side that Melbourne is, bringing the ball to ground is like the number one value in a forward we have. Like we don't have
Exactly.
superstar for big forwards. Like we don't. And everyone knows it. We've all been asking for it. We don't have it. So you got to play the hand you dealt, and all those guys need to do is bring it down to our, A grader, B pluses, your Cozzys, your Chandlers, your Petrarca when they're in there, those types of players to finish the job. Melksham, I mean, maybe he's not an A grader, but I think he's the best intercept. I think I said this last week, intercept negator. I don't know if that's even a position, but
I like it.
he is the best. He is the best at it in the comp. He just the blokes that will hit the scoreboard, like you just need, if you bring the ball to ground in your forward 50 and you're able to get repeat stoppages like we did again, that stat I love, tackles in forward 50,
Yeah.
20 tackles inside our 50. We were averaging 12.8, well, so 13, right? We
Hmm.
had 20 to their 9.
Yep.
Another stat I love, contested possession for us.
Smashed it.
57 to 157, excuse me, 157 to 130. Smashed them. Smashed them. Well above our season average. These are things, turnovers, 53 for the game. That is exemplary. Exemplary stuff. Like that shows a couple of things. One is the intent and the endeavor with the tackling and the contested possession. The other with the turnovers is we're taking care of the ball better. It's marketable improvement from the year that's already been. We've been a lot better with retaining the ball, even when being more aggressive, which is a
And
great thing.
to add to that, post clearance contested possessions, 90 to 67. Post clearance ground ball gets 65 to 49. So in total, we were 107 ground ball gets to 89. It was our ability to hunt, to outwork, to win contests yesterday, which was an absolute hallmark of the game. And the one thing is, it's so easy to get caught up in those numbers. But I had a chat to a man, Matty Jones, who I think knows you, Matty Jones, because he mentioned the debrief and he was year above me at Xavier at school. And we're having a discussion about footy and we simplified it because he loves the numbers and the data, and you and I don't mind the numbers and the data either. But you can get so caught up in it. And the one thing that we were saying to each other while we were at this wedding last week, Chris Perkins, a shout out, great man, big Melbourne supporter, was happy to get the win over Sydney yesterday. So well done, Perko, newlywed to the beautiful Hannah. There's a little mention for him, but it was winning your contests. Just that's what footy is. How many teams win grand finals, and how often do you hear this line, this cliche? The team that wanted it more got the job done. It's just commonplace. That's what the game is built on. It's built on winning contests, and Melbourne won so many critical one-on-one contests yesterday, and that really for me was the separator. And I saw it with my own eyes. I didn't have to look at the stat sheet. It's just nice to reinforce that point, Benny. And then the final point I'll make on this: Sydney brought some mongrel bastard. It was 89 tackles to 82 for the game. Off the charts. Crazy numbers. The season average for Melbourne, roughly 58 tackles per game. For Sydney, roughly 57 tackles per game. It was a high tackle game. And Sydney were arguably up for the fight in that respect. And they brought a bit of mongrel bastard themselves. Melbourne were just tougher and stronger and quicker. And this is a side that we came up against that were, funnily enough, a little bit older than us and had more games experience in their side as well. And we absolutely obliterated them off the park. So it bodes really well for what we'll see hopefully in the coming weeks. We've got a big game against St Kilda. And it's a big game because all of this momentum that we've built in the past 6 weeks, winning 5 of them, it would be a real fucking pain in the ass if we were to go up to Alice Springs and just drop a silly game against a St Kilda. And I think we need to respect them as well. They've had a few dirty days recently, but they've got some real quality in that outfit. Some super quality. Rowan Marshall's a top ruckman. Wanganeen is an absolute jet off half back as well. And Jack Higgins is going as good as any small forward in the game. You'd have to say he's arguably the best small forward, pure small forward, because we know that Kozzy obviously rolls through the midfield. I could see your face twitching there, Benny. And
Disagree, but okay.
but they've got some really really good players. So yes, let's respect the opponent. Let's make sure that we go into that game. Yes, we're full of confidence, chock full of confidence, particularly off the back of the last 2 weeks. But we've got to keep this momentum going. And the reason why I want to keep this momentum going, Benny, is because I want a King's birthday where we're 6-6. We're riding the crest of a wave. We come up against Collingwood, who have pulled our pants down too many times on that day. It fucking annoys me. And I want us to go in there feeling like we could get these bastards. We could certainly get these bastards, and it would be a real dampener if we don't get it done this week against St Kilda. So respect the opponent because I want that game against the Pies on King's birthday to be as big as it should be. That's the position we've got to get ourselves to now, Benny.
I agree. I agree with what you said. I think it's spot on. I mean, look, I'd say there's one more stat we didn't mention, and I think it's something that we should pay attention to is the marks inside 50. Before I get on to the other remarks, but the we had, I think, like 16 marks inside 50. I think, yeah, 16. We're averaging 10 for the year. This is again, we've had this bugbear about not hitting targets inside 50. We're starting to do that.
Mm.
These are all things is that some of the most successful people in many, many fields talk about marginal gains. And I think Melbourne is starting to encompass that concept where we are starting to get these marginal gains every week and they're adding up and they compound. And that is one of the more pleasing things to see is that there's been these little wins every week for the last, yes, we lost to Hawthorn, but for the last 6 weeks, there's been these wins and they're starting to compound and they're starting to return bigger and bigger dividends. And that is what is one of the more pleasing things. Now, on what you said earlier about how we played versus them, I think Dean Cox actually summarized it the best in 3 words.
Mm-hmm.
Tougher, tougher, cleaner, harder.
Yeah.
Those were the three. They're the words he used. And I think that's it. We were tougher, we were cleaner, and we were harder. And now you could say harder and tougher are a bit of synonymous, but I think that where we needed to be ruthless, we were. And I would take sub hard like harder for more ruthless, and we were. In the last quarter when we needed to put them to the sword, we did 8-2, I think it was. That's
Yep.
what we should have been doing all game. But when in the last quarter, when it mattered, we did it, and that was the ruthlessness. That's the edge that Goodwin always talks about. The ruthlessness. That is what we want to see. We were great. That last quarter, I think it was Tommy Corcoran, maybe, in our little D's chat, said that he's going to go back and watch that last quarter, 8-2. That's what we want to see. And that is us. That's what we want to be. That is when the game needs to be put to bed. That's what you dish up. That was perfect. Almost perfect football. And look, let's just take stock. We have played the two grand finalists in the last 2 weeks. We have, look, I know Brisbane looked closer on the scoreboard, but I think we should have won by more.
Oh yeah.
And we've utterly demolished them in the last quarter, both sides. It's just we didn't kick it straight in the game last week.
Yep.
That alone gives me this sliver of what could be. Now, you know how AFL do this, 9 lessons we learned, right? Their lesson this week was Melbourne is tracking Brisbane last year.
Ah, Benny, don't.
I I'm just stating I'm not saying I believe it. I'm
Their
just
words,
saying what
their
this.
words, not yours. That's all you're doing. You're
Yeah,
regurgitating.
correct. Credit to the AFL.com.au and their journalist unit, whatever you call it that. But
Sure.
that's their words, not mine. That's all I'm saying.
Well done,
It's
unit at afl.com.au. Well done, unit. Squadron.
I don't know what they call them. So I don't know. There's this sliver. There's this hope,
Hmm.
and I think last week I said it was a fool's hope.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not. Maybe there's a little bit of hope in there that
Do the,
we can start moving our way up the ladder, just grinding.
do,
And I
do you
get
know
I
what?
I I guarantee you this. I'll say this.
Yeah.
If we somehow
Mm.
make it to September,
Yep.
there's going to be a lot of teams in that top eight that do not want to play us
Agree.
because we have a couple of scary propositions for them. One is Max Gorn,
Yeah.
the other is Kozzy Pickett, and we have these two blokes. I don't know if you've heard of them, Christian Petrarca, Clayton Oliver, who can split a game open by themselves.
Yeah.
And right now, they're all running through our midfield.
Yep.
And just to put a finer point on it, we have two of the best key defenders that play the game.
Yeah. One of them's waning a bit, in my opinion, but yes.
But just like there could be a little bit of, there's every now and then. It's like, I know you're not a golf fan, but it's like when Tom Watson was in the British Open, he lost to Stuart Sink. He was like 60 odd years old,
How does
had
he
no
spell
business.
sink? Does he spell sink like my favorite catchphrase, or does he spell it sink like the kitchen sink?
He spells it like Cink, but that's beside the point. How you spell his name? It's Tom Watson had no business being in a major at that point in his life.
Yes.
Went to a playoff, I believe,
Mhm.
and he did lose. But it was one of those things where just those old guys, they find a little gear. Those champions find a gear when they need to, and I think that's the there's this there is whether you want to believe it or not, I do believe that the finals Melbourne of 2021
Mhm.
still scares some people.
Okay.
There's still that there's still that they have this gear that can destroy you in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
There aren't a ton of sides that have that.
Guess who's scared? Alex Hoysler's scared because he just called me before, didn't he? Uh,
He's setting the foundation for him to give you shit. He's scared. I heard his voice. I heard I
Context
heard
for the
I
listeners. It's been brought up
I
on
heard the
the show
voice.
before, but context for the listeners. He is a crazy Collingwood supporter. He is the epitome of a Collingwood supporter. He's batshit crazy.
He's probably trolled half our listeners. Let's be honest.
Trolls you on Instagram, he's been there. Trolled you on Facebook, he's been there. He is a Collingwood asshole, this young man, who is a friend of mine. He divides opinion, Alex. You either love him or you loathe him. But he doesn't give a shit because he is Collingwood. He is Collingwood. And he called before to go, holy hell, Petrarca was running away from contests, burning some of the best mids in the game like they weren't even there. Holy shit, Clayton Oliver looks like he's got back to his best. You could hear him trembling, Benny. He was trembling.
Yeah. It's also reverse psychology. It helps him rationalize when they lose. It's all part of coping
Hmm.
for me.
He's strategic, isn't he?
He just loves to do that sort of stuff to you. He's building you up for the benefit of if it actually eventuates, he's already said it, right? So I think this is all part of his plan, if he has a plan. But look, yeah, I know he's your mate. I
Yeah,
don't love him. I'll be honest. I know he doesn't love me. I
that's
don't give a
okay.
shit.
That's okay.
Not everyone does. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. But I will say there was this hint of fear in his voice. There was this,
Hmm.
and look, for its side sitting on top of the ladder. I don't know why you're worried about anyone underneath you.
I know we're 11th, mate. Why are you talking about us?
Why even talking about the D's?
Because
Why are you even talking about us?
we, it feels genuine. That was the sense I got out when I walked out of the ground last night. It feels genuine.
It does. And honestly, like I would not be surprised if there was like this not a shudder, but a shake.
Mm.
It's like, oh, hang on, are the D's coming?
Yeah.
Because look, we had some players out of form for a couple of years. If we start hitting form at the right time with the star power we have, and with like Kozzy doing what he's doing, and maybe now's a good time to talk about what. Well, we've already talked a little bit about it,
Spoken about
but
Kozzy at will.
we have. You're right. It's Memorial Day here. I'm wearing an America. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm wearing this fucking America singlet. That was give you that. Um, but like with someone like him, that's something we haven't had before. We haven't had a midfielder that's capable of kicking 5 goals in a game.
No, we've had track float forward and kick bags of five as a primary forward, not floating.
Yeah, but yeah, but
Yes,
but
you're right.
but Kozzy's doing like we said, every like second kick is a shot on goal. He had what 18 kick. Well, sorry, it's more. He had 18 kicks and 11 shots on goal.
He attended 18 centre backs
Then
as well. He played as a mid that would
yeah.
roam forward.
So this is what I mean. It's like that's an obscene number of shots on goal for that many kicks.
Yeah, it's
Like
crazy.
that's obscene. So he, I think it's a different Melbourne. And then we've got Judd McVee back. I think that's an underrated in because it releases Trent Rivers into the midfield. Now, Jack is still
Yeah.
out. What was the feedback? What was the feedback on the taboo question that I had
Ah,
last week?
didn't get much. Yeah.
Y- You're lying. I know you're lying. Adrian,
Are
Naughtsie,
you gonna Scotty Hood
Naughtsie.
me? You're gonna look for your kudos in the same way
No, no, no.
you
I'm
did
not
use
looking for.
kudos last week.
I'm not looking for my kudos. I'm interested to know what the very limited number of people that listen to this podcast think about the taboo topic that we covered last week.
Okay. Do you want to hear it?
As someone who seeks to be, I like to improve. I like to get opposing views. So I'd like to know what people thought.
So you're not seeking validation, you're just seeking curiosity and feedback to the topic.
Well, I don't need validation because I think I'm right. So
No. So it was positive, overwhelmingly positive in Benny Lee's favor. And people were saying that the mix and the balance seems better without Jack in there. A lot of people saying Jack is too good a player not to be in the team, which you also said as well. And the deep forward or pressure forward role got thrown up quite a bit. So it is a big conundrum. The one thing I will say, Benny, and I'm touching this plywood, this shit desk that I've got, and I'm saying, please, football gods, I really hope this isn't a severe concussion issue. I thought he'd be back last week. I hope he's back this week and he's available for selection. I'm just crossing my fingers, my toes, and every part of my body that it's not a prolonged issue with concussion. That's the only thing I just wanted to make mention of that it was obviously too soon in the picture for us to have that discussion because I think both you and I thought he would be selected in the team, regardless of what his role is. Fuck, I hope that's not the case. So that's the only thing. I think there's just this
well,
alarming sense of what's happened with Angus. Please, Jack, please. And I know people might be getting alarmed by these words, but I just need to put it out there. I am a little bit worried about it. And I want Melbourne to put out a communication this week, or hope they put out a communication this week that says, Jack's all good. We just want to make absolutely certain concussion is a very delicate thing, blah, blah, blah. I hope we get that in the next couple of days, Benny. So that was the only other thing that popped into my brain when I just
well,
heard that he wasn't selected.
yeah, but wait, have they said it was concussion related? Sorry, I may have missed it.
No, no, it's concussion related.
So if it is, they should take more time than they think they need to assess it because we need to learn from mistakes of the past.
Yeah.
Like that, if they think it's remotely serious, they should err on the side of caution. Because whilst I think that there is a better balance here, like the welfare of the player is to me still paramount. Because as a supporter, right, like he's given us like everything we could have ever dreamed for, like
Mm.
from him, from a father-son selection, delivers the premiership. He's a superstar of our club, absolute champion. Um, but that should not ever, ever go above his well-being and
No.
longevity. Like if he is remotely not okay,
Yeah.
they need to make sure that. And look, I don't know what the right call is, but if there's ever a doubt in my mind, like you play football for what? Best case, 10 years.
Mm.
I think the average football career is probably less, like considerably less than maybe four,
Yeah.
maybe even less, maybe two. I don't know. But he's had an unbelievable run. He's he's put his head in positions that it shouldn't have ever been in. No right person without padding would do that.
Mm.
Um, I I don't know. I'm a little bit shell shocked to be honest, because like I kind of think of him as indestructible, right? Like
Yeah.
I've always thought of him as one of those players that he's so hard, so packed. Like I never really thought he'd have any sort of. This is a bit raw, but I never thought he'd really have any sort of concussion issues just because of how well put together he is. But yeah, I don't know. If there's a doubt, and I think the club's got to be one of maybe the club is the person who has to say like, look, Jack, like this is your life. Like you've got
Yeah, but we
what
don't
he's
know
what.
yet, Benny. I'm just saying, I don't know yet. I'm just reading, seeing things, hearing.
Yeah, okay. Well, say if it is concussion. Like I'm speaking hypothetically as well, right? Like if you don't know, I don't know, right? So if it is, and I know this is hard to say, and I know probably Jack's never going to probably do it willingly, but maybe the right thing is just him stepping back from football because
Yeah,
like
but
he's
I could be blowing this out of proportion, Benny. He could be fine. He
oh
could come back in this week.
well what well yeah he could too, yeah, you're right, but like if
Yeah.
I'm just saying again hypothetically if it is concussion related,
It is.
Melbourne learn from the mistakes that we've made in the past with other players and don't do it again.
Let's
Like
just wait and see. Let's not make people upset,
no
worried.
one's going to panic. No one's going to panic from what we say. I'm
No,
just
but I just like I just it just takes me to a raw place because of a player that is here on my desk who is dear to my heart. I still wear his badge to the games because I'm a 36-year-old nuffy. There he is, Gus, for all the YouTube listeners or watchers.
but it should though, and this isn't. But 80, this is an important thing,
No,
right?
I just want
And
to end it. I just want to end it there, Benny.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
don't want to alarm people.
end it there, end it there. Fine, but it is a real issue, and
It
it
is.
needs to be considered.
It is. Well said. You said it well. We need to take the most conservative approach possible. And if it means a little bit more time out, but then he gets cleared and it's all good, whew, fingers, toes, legs, everything's crossed. Really, really quickly, Benny, because we've got to wrap up. I want to give Harry Sharp a quick mention. Comes under the ground, kicks a couple of goals, gets 7 disposals, sets one up. Very similar impact to what we saw with Bailey Fritsch the week before. Well done, Sharpie. Had a big smile on his face, was reveling in it. It was party time at the G. And he made an impact coming on for Charlie Spargo, who got the little coward hit from Callum Mills. And then the other player to make mention of, it would be remiss of us, it's the very end of the show, but Christian Petrarca in game 200. He was awesome. 28 disposals, kicked a ripping trademark track goal, set two up, second best pressure player on the field for Melbourne. He was electric. He was bursting away from contests. But the thing I loved the most that wasn't actually game related, because Christian does this most weeks, he's a superstar, is seeing on Twitter a photo of his old man and Simon Goodwin arm in arm as they sung the club song. Warms your heart because I know Christian, the club, had a few disagreements after his horrific injury and there was a bit of tension there. And it just feels like it's all subsided now. Like, I was a bit harsh on him. We're all a little bit harsh on him. I still don't think the way he went about it last year and the 19 days of silence did himself any favours, but it's all been put to bed now. It's done. And I was just so happy for him that A, he could play really, really well in a milestone match. It was the first milestone match he'd actually won because he'd lost at the 50, 100, and 150 game juncture. And just to see that unification of family and Melbourne Football Club, I thought that was fucking terrific. And we love Christian, and I love watching him play footy every week. And I'm all in on him, and I've been all in on him for a bit now. Maybe took me a little bit too long to come to the party again, but it all feels very genuine. Genuine. It feels very authentic. And if he's up and about playing his best footy, as you said before, Benny, we're going to be such a dangerous proposition. So well done to Christian.
I agree. And what I would say, just to summarize it, is that I think he's put himself back into the conversation for the post-Gorn era captain.
Yeah.
Just his conduct, the way he speaks about the club, the way he's carried himself, it's a testament to his character after going through all that stuff in the off season. And look, I agree with you. I don't think it was the right approach, but you know, he has his own people who advise him, and they thought that was the right approach. I'm sure they know more about it than I do or you do. Um, but yeah, he's been exemplary, and I think that he's stepping back into the position I thought he was before he got injured, which is logically the next captain of Melbourne. Um, and look, he's been a superstar. He won a Norm Smith. Should have had the record for grand final disposals. Was robbed. He is out and out superstar. He was one of the best picks Melbourne's ever had in the draft. It was almost by luck we got him because St Kilda gassed it. But look, you got to take the luck when you can, and I'm very very thankful we have him. And when it's all said and done, I hope he is a Melbourne player for his life. And if he continues in the vein of form that he's in and the way he carries himself, I think he would make an excellent captain of the club.
Here, here. Well said, Benny. We'll wrap it on that. Thank you for your time. Thank you
Cheers.
for your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions. Thank you for zero apologies because you don't do apologies. And let's hope that you do the biggest apology of all time at the end of the season because that will have meant that Clayton Oliver has become the beast that he once was. That would be great. But Benny, thank you. And no doubt I'll see you in the not so distant.
For sure, mate. Go D's. Let's keep this run going.
Go D's, keep the run going. We'll see you on Thursday. Don't know who's in the studio. Probably Marker, maybe Penny, maybe Nuggets. Who knows? Maybe Caden McDonald might come in. Everyone wants to speak about the D's at the moment. It's a beautiful place to be in. Just got to keep it going. Get it done against the Saints. Get it done. And Robbo's rundown. He's going to come into the studio with me on Wednesday. So Robbo just wants to talk D's. He's keen. So I'll be sitting on a couch with him, waxing lyrical about this beautiful football club of ours. Let's fucking go.
Let's go. Go D's.